This video is brought to you by Guitar Center Professional. Whether you're looking to upgrade your studio, your live event space, or your restaurant, or you're just a musician wanting to get some extra equipment, they are nationwide with professional pricing. Hit them up, their information is below. And do right here. Do I have pit stains? Hey. Roll. You rolling? Cool. All right, take two, here with Eddie. Can we walk through your stage setup real fast before they push the drums back? Can you tell me what you're doing with drums?
Sure. And maybe we can even take a look back here.
Absolutely.
So, this is one of two drum kits that we have. We have an A and a B kit.
Is this A?
This is the A kit.
Okay.
And then we have a B kit. When we do the Metallica shows, we've been using two drum kits. So it's an identical mirror image of this. And basically, it's we have a Tama. This is a Tama Star series, and then we have a Tama Star Classic for the B kit that they custom made for Charlie. And yeah, everything's.
What's the difference between the A and the B?
One's a Star series, that's their Tama's top of the line, and then the Star Classic, that's their next from that.
Got it.
But yeah, it's pretty much matching sizes to Vinny's original kit. We've got, and it's pretty simple. I mean, I've got two mics in each kick drum, both mounted on Kelly's shoes.
Okay.
So they're internally shock mounted.
What'd you choose for the mics?
What's that?
What'd you choose for the mics?
What did I choose, or what did I use? Oh, so we have a D6 that's in there.
Okay.
And then there's also an SE Electronics BL8.
That's the out?
They're both in. They're both internally.
I'm sorry,
yes.
you said that.
But yeah, it's a PZM mic. Yes. And yeah, great low end, great top. So yeah, I've got both those mounted in there.
Okay.
Snare, once again, Charlie wanted an SM58, so we ran a 58 up top.
I love that this is SM58, old school,
why not?
like
Yes.
tried and true.
Can't beat it up.
Yeah.
Or if he breaks a stick, you just take the 58 and use that for the rest of the, But yeah, that, and then we've got Earthworks DM20s on the rest of the toms.
Okay.
That's on all four toms. And then also underneath snare bottom, we've got 414 TL2s on the hi-hat.
414 and a hi-hat.
And that's in figure 8, so that's picking up the hi-hat and that little kind of trashy cymbal above that. This one's also in figure 8 too, picking up the ride and that first cymbal over there. And everything's on these triad orbit mounts.
Yeah, I saw that. I love that. Check this out.
So you turned me on to them, or brought me those first samples, and then during this break, I actually matched both kits, so now we have them on the A and B kit for everything.
Ooh, here we go.
So, this is new stuff that we've done. We have an SPDS Pro, and Abel triggers a couple things. When they play floods, there's some thunder effects and stuff like that. And then the beginning of Cowboys from Hell, there's the vocal intro and then the guitar riff that plays and loops. So he triggers all that from here, which this thing's awesome. You could just drag and drop any sounds that you want into that. And then down here we have a TD50X, and this has all of Vinny's original samples.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, they allowed us to use those out here. So Charlie's been he's got two different kits in there that he switches between. And so
how do you mix that?
So basically, it's almost like this is like the icing on the top of the cake.
Okay.
All the rest of it's mainly it's all the drum tones here, and it's like this is just that extra little attack up top on the kick, or that extra little attack on the toms. That's stuff that they kind of define, That's stuff that makes you go, oh, Pantera.
So the triggers cue the samples.
No. So this is separate. This is something that Abel's. These samples are in here, and like there's a kick sample, a snare sample, a rack, and there's 4 toms. And so he has roll and triggers on each of the drums.
Yeah, so those triggers cue the samples They're not gates.
correct. Well, both. They're two in one. So here's what we're doing here. I'll show you this. You know, he said don't give away all the secrets, so this is only half of them. But, so if you want to come around here, you can see. This is a mess. Once again, hey, festival day. But this is 16 channels of Rupert Neve RNDIs. So these are 8-channel rack mount DIs. So all the rolling triggers go into here, and then the through from here goes into the TD50X. The output XLR is what we take to key the inputs or the gates. And then this next one, this 8, is the outputs of the TD50. So that way I don't have to run a separate line.
For the,
I don't have to have a separate trigger and a separate line for all of that. We just kind of did 2 in 1.
That's genius, Eddie.
You know,
I've never seen that.
It makes it a little cleaner. That's, you know, it's 7 more channels that we don't have to have coming off stage. So just, once again, that was probably revision 3 by the time we did that, you know?
Whose idea was that?
Mine. But I mean, just trying to find a simpler way of doing it, you know, and then trying to make it neater. Just like I said, everything, just like that iPad. That was a new thing that came up. The SPDS X or the SPDX Pro. You know, that's something that I've been looking at for years, and I've always wanted something similar to that. It's just technology hadn't got there yet. Now that thing, there's an app on there. And I mean, it's how I wish the TD50 was, that you could just sit there and drag and drop, and it's really easy to manipulate. And it's a super powerful thing. So, but at the same time, it's simple.
Yeah.
It's just a left and right out that goes in. Now, did it take time to program that? Sure. So, and I guess that's the other side of this. Like, okay, a lot of these are my ideas. That doesn't mean I'm the one that like put it all together. You know, like just knowing who to call on. Like my buddy Mike that we met over there with the iPad. He's the one that programmed all the TD50 stuff. Alex programmed all of the iPad for Rex's monitoring station and got all that stuff. I did the legwork to figure out the MIDI stuff and, you know, like what was going to work out best there. So it's kind of like, I'll come up with the idea, I'll get all the pieces, and then I go, here, can you build this for me?
How do you, any latency issues with it?
No. Which part?
For the samples.
No, well, I align all that in the console.
Okay.
Yeah, I just use input delay.
Okay.
And then, yeah, I use the input delay just to push those in time, and then a lot of that I did by ear too, because it's one of those things like you can sit there and match waveforms up.
Sure.
Or you can use like those auto align plugins, but at the same time, it's like, what's that aligning to? Is that aligning to the transient?
Yeah.
Is it aligning to that big hump afterward, which is the low? You know, to me, I like to do it by ear. That way, I make the decision of where I want the summation.
Yeah.
That's what you're basically doing, is you're just sitting there going, where do you want it to be in phase? So
you're more ear instead of trying to visually line it up.
Yeah, I mean, maybe I'll get it close, but yeah, like I'll look at the waveforms just to see where they are, and then maybe that gives me a starting point. But then I just close my eyes and sit there and spin the delay back and forth and go. You know, and I mean, it's all by feel. Like even today, I pushed up the second kick mic on both the kick drums. There was less low end. Phasing. Somewhere between 3 mics and this sample.
Yeah.
Something was out, so I just dumped those, and we're not going to use them today. You know.
Just not gonna use them.
Nah. We'll change it every day.
So really, you have 4 kick drums. You got 2 samples, and then you got 2 kick drums here.
Well, and then he has the 2 kick drums on the outside too. So
I mean, that's okay. Never mind.
You know.
There's 8.
It's kind of like Alex Van Halen math, you know? Like, yeah. Now we need the fire extinguisher and the rest of it.
I love it, man.
Let's see, where are we at here?
What is that? I saw another tri-orbit setup.
Here
What
you
is
go.
that?
Check this out. Guys, this is Mike Dorsey. We call him the Wizard.
Hey guys, how are y'all?
He's our audio guru out here with
Watching
us.
y'all, man.
Oh, thanks,
I've been enjoying
man.
it a lot, man.
I appreciate it.
Glad to see y'all out here. How's everybody doing out there?
So,
What is this setup?
this is Rex's iPad setup.
Okay.
So basically, It is run through the mixing station app, and then that is being controlled. It runs back to the console.
Okay.
So it's controlling Rex's mix. And then there's also, so that's one thing that it's doing. And the other thing is that we've got a MIDI out of here going to this little MIDI foot switch. And that lives by Rex's pedal board. So when he's playing, he can turn on and off the send to his in-ears for his mix.
Yeah.
So it doesn't affect anybody else, it doesn't affect out front, but it just lets him clean up his mix, walk away, and back on.
I love that.
Yeah, so Alex Hollinger, he came up with his initial design and worked with these guys and programmed all that. And then I talked to the guys at Triad.
Yeah, I love these Triad.
Yeah, so this guy, this piece, I think this is,
The cool thing about these is that they're air-loaded shafts as well. I mean, it's heavy, heavy, heavy with locking feet.
you can even do different angles if you wanted. Not that we're doing that, but
And all these are threaded so you can make cool adapters. This is a really cool piece.
yeah, so, and then same thing, I wanted something that wouldn't kick over or, you know.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that's another thing since the last time we saw you.
One thing I've liked to do too is sometimes I'll do this and lock it out so it's on a...
Uh-huh.
Sorry, I'm stepping over everything. Sorry.
Now it's all broken.
I broke it all. Now the show's gonna be ruined.
This is where Rex's baseboard goes.
Thank you.
That's his baseboard position, and I think I'll show you that in a second.
Okay.
And that's basically it's a board that has two drivers underneath it, and
That's right.
Yeah.
I love that thing.
so it feeds from 20 to 200. So it basically just gives you the rest of that conduction here down that you don't get in the in-ears. So, and like for the Metallica thing, there's no subs on stage. So even that, sometimes he'll just put 1 foot on it just to get a reference. Like, 'cause you can feel when you're in tune. You can feel it.
Yeah.
It's just another connection.
The joys of playing a bass.
Yeah.
Can you show me some of the mic setup for the amps over
Yeah.
here?
These are all Wild Audio 412 cabinets, and we loaded those. Those are all loaded with 300 watt EV Black Label Edition speakers. Let me unplug this before Robbie unplugs this.
They also got more Triad Orbit.
Yeah. So once again, a little flange mount. Yeah. So we have these. There you go, Robbie. So 2 of these are running. These 2 are Zach's heads. He has Wild Audio 100 watt tube heads. And those run these 2 cabinets. These 2 cabinets are also loaded with 300 watt EVs, and they're run from this JC120 we have over here.
Yeah, can we see that?
Let's go look at that. So it's dirty, clean. So you get stereo here. And then I'll show you how that's wired. So here we go. Rolling JC120. And what we did, we cut these leads here so we could still use these. And then we took the leads out of here and we wired them to a little female connector here. And then we just go speaker out of there into 2 Palmer DIs. That way I don't have to have any other mics. And it's just for the clean tone, so it makes it nice and big.
That's so cool.
Yeah.
What made you think of doing this?
Because you can't find the heads. They used to make a 120H, which was a smaller head. Those were all made in the mid 80s. And aside from being hard to find, sometimes they're not reliable.
Yeah.
So we just got, this is a new one. We actually have 3 of these. So, but that's what it was, just basically so we could power the cabinets on stage. Because we didn't want to drag this out there and then and then for the look of everything.
Yeah.
Plus, at the same time, this is a 120 watt head, and it pushes those 412s with those. I mean, that's a 1200 watt cabinet, but it pushes it. So, yeah.
Yes.
So that's the baseboard. So it's got these 2 drivers. It's got speak on. And then it's powered by that amp up top there.
Cool.
Yeah. That's a T1000. It's a bass amp. And it has two output channels. One that you can have full range. They both can be full range. And there's a mono bridge. But the second one has a sub filter on it. And that's what just sends 20 to 200.
Who drives that?
This comes out of Rex's, straight out of his rig.
Oh, okay. So it's not the monitor engineer's not doing that.
Now, we had it like that, but this way he can control it. You can turn it on or off as needed. And so, yeah, that's his output. That's Rex's main output. That's to his baseboard. And that's another signal that we take for out front. But, yeah, super handy piece.
I love that.
Yeah.
Any other tricks you guys got going on? I know we're on a really time crunch
No. Trying to think what else, all the stuff we've been up to.
Tell them everything.
No, not all. We haven't made it to the bottom drawer yet.
So how much of this is your brainchild of like ideas that you want to do, and did that give you kind of full leeway to kind of experiment with stuff? How much of it was you and how much of it is the band?
I mean, I don't know. I guess I originally put all the initial ideas together. This isn't a touring band. It's a band that hasn't toured in 21 years. So it's like starting from ground zero.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I initially sketched a lot of the audio ideas out and then continued working with monitor engineers and our techs and stuff. But basically what I did, I just put it all together and I had everybody sit down. I'm like, look, let's be a team. And if there's any griefs or anybody has a little grievance, raise your hand, and let's fix it. So like, once again, all my initial ideas, those have evolved and turned into many different things. But
so much has shifted since the last time they toured. There's been so much in technology we've grown with since then. So it's cool to see your tip of the hat to the old analog stuff, but also utilizing new technology where is needed with that.
Well, and okay, how about this? Like a lot of this stuff, a lot of that's Rex's push. Rex knew he had seen something like this before in the past, and so I started researching and hunting down and just different ideas. And a buddy of mine, Shane, he's a bass player for Crowbar.
Okay.
He actually knows those guys and put me in contact with them. So they came out to they came out in Amsterdam.
Okay.
To that show, and they made those for us. They've been great. So like that was a Rex idea. The Taurus, that thing's an awesome earth-shaking thing.
What is that?
It's you'll see them later. It's a Taurus pedal. It's the one octave of. It's a Moog. Moog made it. It's a Taurus 3. And they made 200 of them in 2012, and we got 2 of them. But it's like Rush uses them, the Police use them. It's those big pedal board.
Okay, yeah.
He does all those sub-synth octave stuff like that. So when you're in a big place like this, or even like the stadium, it really just rolls around the whole thing. And
let me ask you this. You've seen you've been in the industry for a little while, not calling you old by any means, but you've seen some classic gear and you've seen this, it seems like there's a big shift to like technology and new stuff and cutting edge stuff. Knowing what you know now and seeing all that, what do you think is kind of the future for audio and for backline and for this world? Do you think we're gonna lose all the transducers? Do you think it's gonna all be just AirPods? Do you think it's all gonna be all digital now, or do you think there's still gonna be a lot of need for the analog, old school stuff? Do you think it's gonna be a mixture? What's your thoughts?
I think it'd definitely be a mixture of all of it. I think technology's great. It's a fascinating thing, but I think there's sometimes like the fundamentals have to be there, like just, air displacement, moving air, there's something about that. You can have a little modeling amplifier, which is great, but you still need to move air or find some way to move air. Like that's even, like once again, for the in-ears, for Rex's in-ears. He has cabinets on stage, so he gets pressure from there. But also having that baseboard, it's just like a different combination of using hybrid stuff.
Yeah.
Like this is a Class D digital amp on that power in the baseboard. So like we're seeing more Class D stuff. There's still, once again, then you got somebody like Zach. The rig's like a truck. You can just open it up and fix anything, and it's just all real. It's right there.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. I'm a fan of both sides of it, but that's why I think now it seems like they're doing a better job at like combining the technologies together, like of analog and digital. Where I think at first, somebody went, I've got this modeling amp, maybe it was 20 years ago, a modeling amp wasn't what they are today, So, but back then people were looking for new tools. I think now they're finding, whether it's the 4-cable method or different ways of integrating, wiring stuff up, they're finding better ways of utilizing each piece of gear better. Like gain structure, like just, people are becoming a lot more knowledgeable, and I think that's what's pushing things like the neural DSP or the quad cortex or Kempers or stuff like that. And once again, even like using the axe effects, like you don't have to use that for everything. You can just use that for effects.
Yeah.
So people doing stuff like that, where it's like you can have it's almost like having a 2290 or the whole refrigerator rack, but it's just figuring out gain structure, and like that's a big thing. I think that maybe people didn't understand, or impedance. So stuff felt weird when you're playing,
One of my favorite things, my favorite quotes from you is it can be complex, but not complicated.
Right.
And I love that, especially with everything that you're doing. There's some complexity to it, but nothing's really too complicated, and you kind of like to have things pretty simple, so to speak. Like if you're front of house setup, it's not overly complicated.
Right.
There's a ton of stuff going on there, or even with everything you got going on behind the scenes, it's awesome stuff, but there's still like this underlying simplicity to everything that you do with it.
Yeah, I mean, and that way it's easier to troubleshoot, or just like, even the drum kit has 36 inputs, but none of them are wasted.
Yeah.
I got like, everything has a specific purpose, it's a lot, and even, we've got all kind of odd stuff going on, but it's just taking the time to sit there and just methodically think it out, and just go through the steps. But that's, I don't know, reading manuals and just sit there and like I said, this is the 7th time that we rebuilt basically the whole rig. And
the whole thing?
Yeah.
PA and everything?
Yeah. And then, or just like even the drum looms. When we built the first drum kit, and then we needed to split the drum kit left and right, so we had to redo the loom then. And then we got the second kit, and we built that one, and we learned something from that. And then that's what we just keep doing, just keep leapfrogging.
So last time I saw you, we were at an arena, and now we're at a festival. For the newer engineers here, tell me what the biggest difference is for you headlining a show from a festival to a arena. What's the biggest difference for you? Obviously, there's a time crunch because there's a bunch of stuff going on.
Yeah.
But do you approach it the same way?
Yeah. I mean, to me, just the venue changes. We do the same thing every day. We're shooting for consistency.
Yeah.
Like this versus the arena is a different pressure because you're outdoors. It's free field.
Yeah.
You can hear the toys better, and you can hear but you have to adapt to that. That's probably the biggest thing. We're guests here along with everybody else. So it's everybody has to find their spot. And, and even whatever, making space like at front of house today, line check and all that. We're behind the lighting console just to make room for everybody else. When the rest of the acts are done, then we'll slide into place. So that's kind of, I don't know, just like any of these gigs, just trying to, I know we're all co-workers, working together. We're all little pieces of this puzzle, for like, even for the whole festival, I mean,
well, what advice do you give to people or engineers that are starting off, they're going to do their first festival, say they're the earlier one on there and they've never done a festival before, what would be your advice to them?
Show up early, be prepared, protect your ears, be conscious of that. Like, if you're going to be here all day, maybe wear earplugs. Like, I'll be leaving here in a little bit just to get out of the venue, just so we don't have a tour bus or any place to go today. But just that, minimizing exposure, so you just don't sit there and listen to little snippets of all the other acts if you want, or if you're playing first, that's cool, get your thing done. Oh, how about this? Listen to other engineers. Find other engineers that you like. That's what I did when I first started. Like, we started doing Ozfest. I'd hardly done any festivals like that size. And I just sat there and watched all the other engineers and listened to, like I said, whether it was Greg Price or Brad Maddox or Big Nobby or Bill Chappelle, any of those guys. I just sat there and went, all right, what's going on here? What's going on?
Yeah.
You know, and you just find little things you like. And so I think that trying to find this, what's in your head, you know, or even like you have to have a guideline or something, you know, some basis to start off on, you know. But like I said, that's what I did touring. I was really fortunate. Zach brought me out on 2 Ozfests in a row. So, well, actually, we did 2000, 2001, and 2. And from that, I got to meet all those other engineers. That's also where I met Big Mick when he was mixing Slipknot. And then, and then we hit it off and started chatting and stuff like that. And same thing. And I just started bugging everybody, asking questions, you know, just, what's this? What's this? Why?
That's key right there. And I think that, like, my advice usually is it's okay to ask questions.
Oh,
and
yeah.
you got all these people here
Yeah.
with a wealth of knowledge, network and ask the questions. You don't have the pride of like, oh, I need to be at this position, because I feel like, you know, just ask the questions. It's okay. People want to share, especially nowadays.
Well, and I mean, like, yeah, as far as sharing, like, to me, it's like, it's fun. And you would, and yeah, absolutely ask questions, because I would hope that we're all here doing this because we love doing it, you know, and like the other engineers that you work with, or, you know, you're going to be working with, ask them, you know, like, they're fans of what they do too, you know, just like, everybody's been in the same spot, you know, starting somewhere. So, yeah, just all that. Never stop learning. Read. Like, that's all I would ever do. Go check out everybody's microphone kits and see who's doing what, and then listen and see what results they get.
Yeah.
You know, that's those Palmers that we're using for the JC120. You know, I learned about that from other engineers, or just I know that, or you know what, and talking to techs. I don't know, this is a big thing for me because I started out as a musician. So, you know, like, even though I play at drums, but I'm not really a drummer, you know, and I goof off on guitar and play stuff I enjoy. But I communicate with all the techs, you know, and I love all the aspects of it. Like, I geek out on drums just as much as bass or guitar or microphones or the console or whatever. So I get with the techs and like to sit and figure out which techs you like. Who gets Abel, our drum tech? He's absolutely fantastic. I mean, every time that I work with him, I know I get stunning results because he's a great tuner.
Yeah.
You know, and aside from being an awesome dude.
Yeah.
You know, but it's like, just, you know, you find different people that you work with. And Drew Foppy, he's a guitar tech that I just saw. He's an absolutely brilliant guitar technician and amp builder and everything. So whenever I have questions, and yes, maybe I'll read on some forums or read some manuals, but then I go to the guys that do this all the time, and, you know, the build, and that's where I find so much information too. It's just like the next level. Once again, it never ends. There's always some other avenue that you can, you know, it just depends on how far you want to dig into it.
I love it.
And I guess that's why, like, even with this, I had to get a lot of this stuff started as far as building the initial thing, so that we had cabinets and stuff like that. And same time, like Charlie, he ordered that drum kit probably 4 months, but it took months for that thing to come in. But just even like learning that, reading about that, you know, knowing what woods are on the kit, you know, like what cymbals he uses, you know, talking with Abel about that. It just helps your vocabulary, you know, like, and that way you can have better communication with your artists.
Yeah.
And like I said, I get all that. It's how far do you want to dig into it? You know, how far down the rabbit hole do you want to go? But once again, to me, that's the fun of it, because it just never ends. Or, yeah.
Well, man, I know we got to get off the stage. Thank you so much, really, for your time.
Yeah.
I appreciate it. I'd say this is usually where, like, if you want to follow him on social media, but you have no social media, you do nothing. So if you want to see him, watch here, or go to a Pantera show near you.
Buy a ticket.
Thank you, man.
Thank you
I
so
really
much.
appreciate
Yes.
you.